Om. Om. Saishwaraya Vidmahi Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahi Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahi Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Saram to all assembled today for yet another Sai Govind series Satsangh of listening to our most beloved Bhagwan's Bhagavatam. It started with Swami students, alumni, and professors from the institute, people who had close physical proximity to Swami. Today is a very, very special occasion where we have somebody who has that proximity 24/7, 365 days in a year, despite not being a student, physical student of the university, okay, or being a professor. Swami always said that everybody who follows my teachings are my students, and he was looking for those sincere students who would blindly follow Swami's teachings. Here we have with us our own brother Srinivasan. Okay, part of this family, part of the Sai Geetam family of Singapore, part of all the Sai families, because he's connected everywhere. Okay, you talk to anybody, they will say, yes, yes, brother Srinivasan is known to me, because that is the spread of love that he practices in his day-to-day life, living Swami's teachings. Formally, brother Srinivasan is a joint, spiritual coordinator of the Navi Mumbai wing of the Sathya Sai organization. But to us, he connects the spirits all over, with or without a formal role, because he breathes day in and day out, okay, Swami's name, Swami's Nama Sankirtana. Because having got to know him very closely over the last few years, okay, when he visited us here in Singapore, we had the bliss of those few days, which we can never forget. Then after that, when we all had that memorable trip to Shirdi Parthi, and then it concluded in Mumbai, with the experience of love that we had there, I think we will carry it throughout this life and forever, right? The most important thing about Brother Srinivasan that we want to share today, okay, is the moment he got close to Swami. Like, he will talk more about that, okay. But after that, not even for a second, he has been able to disconnect himself from Swami. His affinity to bhajans, that's what brought us all together, actually, initially. But 24/7 singing bhajans, even whether at work, whether while traveling, whether you're on an aircraft or whatever it is, I think it's a very, very unique attribute and a lot of learning for all of us. Together with Sister Vidya, who is equally, devoted to Swami, the biggest lesson for all of us has been their surrender to Swami, which we all keep talking about. We keep advising everybody, but when it comes to us, never get to do it. But the surrender that we have seen in both of them, okay, is so phenomenal that no wonder that Swami is showing every moment his presence there. And today I am sure that in the next 1.5 hours, we all will be experiencing Swami's presence through the sharing of Brother Srinivasan, right? He has been composing a lot of bhajans, not composing, but songs that are coming to him. Just like that, from where, how, none of us know, but every one of those songs is so beautiful, so blissful. And we've been fortunate to listen to them being sung by so many of Swami's students. Okay, and the YouTube channels that he has now launched gives us an opportunity, and we are all part of the group, and we keep looking forward to new songs that keep coming up, Anna. Okay, and every one of them we've been enjoying with so much of bliss, right? I'm sure all of you are already connected to those channels, but if not, please go into the albums of Sai Premadhara, okay, or the Sai Janani Anugraham, the Sai Pranasakha, or the Sai Karunamayi, just to name a few. And I'm sure as I am speaking, one more album must be already on the way. Okay, so thank you so much, Anna, for joining us today. Okay, and now we leave it to you to take us through the divine bliss of Sai Bhagavatam.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram to all. Am I audible? Sai Ram. Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. And I pray to Bhagwan, with such love that you have showered on me and the entire world, which I would call it as Vatra the Anbu, the love that never dries, selfless love, the love that is eternal and overflowing. Let it flow through all. And Swami, that love, please speak through me and reflect in whatever you speak through me today. I offer this entire narration at your lotus feet, Bhagwan, because today, if I am alive, if I am able to speak about you, it is only you who has enabled this to happen, because you are the one who has given me second life, which is only dedicated to you, Swami. Thank you, Brother Satya, for this such a wonderful, introduction, which I'm sure, in fact, I do not deserve at all, because somehow Swami has only enabled all this. And again, what to speak of the love that the entire Sai Geetam family has showered on us as a family, me in particular, and also the entire Sai fraternity, where one thing I have realized is the Sai love is so selfless that is the one which really, takes you out of any kind of problem. The sincerity, the devotion with which they pray at each and every occasion, they are there with you in each ups and downs. That is something which is remarkable. Today, I've chosen to speak on a particular subject, which I would call it as ENGU CHENRALUM ni IRUPPAI. Wherever I go, you are there, Swami. And that is one of the bhajans, songs that Swami blessed, which I was fortunate enough to place at the lotus feet of Bhagwan on this 23rd November last year. So, one second, please. Is the screen seen clearly? Yeah. So, ENGU CHENRALUM ni IRUPPAI, wherever I go, you are there. And before I talk about Swami's miracles and how Swami has taken care of us entirely, I would just want to reiterate one thing as to why we are here today. We are here to talk about the infinite love of Swami. We are talking about Sai Bhagavatam. And what Baba says, Shirdi Baba says, if my leelas are written, the avidya, the nescience will vanish, and if they are attentively and devotedly listened to, the consciousness of the worldly existence will abate, and strong waves of devotion and love will rise up. And if one dives deep into my leelas, he would get precious jewels of knowledge. So while I'm an ordinary mortal, really not desire. I don't deserve to really be in this munch where, in fact, so many wonderful Swami students have been speaking, and they have inspired me and inspired so many of us. But still, when you talk about Sai's Leelas, his compassion, I am compelled to speak about, because that is something which me and Vidya have witnessed throughout our lives after he walked into our lives after 2006. Why I want to specifically mention about the year 2006 is, I'll just give a small background as to how Swami really entered into our lives. It is purely because of adversity in our life that Swami entered into our lives. He was there much before, even before we realized that he was in our lives. But it is my dear son Anirudh who merged into Bhagwan in the year 2006, March 24th, when after struggling for 2 years with blood cancer, he merged at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. But one thing Anirudh made sure before merging into Swami is two things which I very distinctly remember. One day, he told Amma just before leaving his body, Amma, there is no one on this earth worth living. Amma, please leave me. Amma, don't shed tears for me. This is what were the profound words of a child as 10 years. And we were absolutely spellbound. We were crying as to how this son could utter this. And again, we never knew that Swami was in our life much before that. Even when he was admitted to the hospital for treatment, my dear Kamali Akka, my Attai's daughter, eldest in our family, she had written a letter to Swami like this. And Swami had signed the letter, but we never realized the significance of Swami's letter. But Swami had blessed and sent the Vibhuti also materialized by him. And we did not know the importance of that Vibhuti also. That was the kind of ignorance in which we were there. But Swami was in hold of our families just before that. Even before this incident, in 2002, there was a strange orange-colored person walking into my cabin in Hyderabad, where I was the regional manager, where he walked into the cabin. He forewarned about the events to come, that in the next 5 years, there is going to be turbulence in your family. He also, at the end of it, he not only materialized Vibhuti and gave it to me, not gave it to me actually, he gave it to my hand and said, please apply and put it into your mouth. And these were instructions which I followed with absolute, I was spellbound. I couldn't take my eyes off. And then he asked me to show the hand, and he materialized this Hanuman and gave it. But this is very significant. What Anirudh implanted was the reason why at least I became such a staunch devotee of Swami, and then that's it. In fact, my life is dedicated to Swami. Before parting, on the laptop, he materialized so many photographs of Swami, and he asked Amma, which photograph would you like? Amma was beginning to cry, but he said, Amma, don't cry for me. Then he said, which one do you like? She said, anything, it's okay. But this Hanuman had a very significant presence in our family right from day one. And because Anirudh used to chant Hanuman Chalisa. And then he said, Amma, this is Sanjeevani Hanuman by Baba. Please catch hold of this Swami. Gettiya pudichuko, Amma. These are the words uttered by Swami, by Anirudh himself before he parted his physical body and merged into Swami. And that is the day when I can certainly say that Swami took firm hold of us and took charge of our lives. it is said that the Guru decides when to walk into our family. And also, Swami always says, be in constant integrated awareness. You have to pick up the signals and be aware of all these happenings. He's always there. That infinite energy is always there in this universe, but it is for you to tap. And that is exactly what we realized. I'm just giving a prelude of the events that happened before we come to two significant events which I'm going to talk about, which would amplify ENGU CHENRALUM NEERUPPAI. After Anirudh, I was also cured of cancer, with Swami's grace. I had a lot of miracles. I've shared it with all of you, and I also put it on YouTube. But this was the final stamp after the fourth chemotherapy. When we got Vibhuti materialized by Swami, the pamphlet in which Vidya took the Vibhuti had this words: goodbye to illness, welcome the wellness. That is Swami's final stamp saying that you are completely cured. I have cured you completely. And that is the day that this physical body of Srinivasan, I lost fear for death and I have surrendered completely. Because one day, anyway, this has to merge, the soul has to leave. This is the physical body. As Swami says, as long as you are breathing in and you are breathing out, it is Shivam. When you breathe in and you fail to breathe out, it's a Shavam. So this omniscience, the omnipotence, the effulgence, everything, that Shivam, Shivoham, everything is within you. That's Swami. That's what Swami really, taught me. Now, before we move on to two very, very important topics, I would like to narrate two disparate incidents in our lives where all of us, when Swami left his physical body, even now people crave for his physical presence. You all feel for his physical presence. Of course, his physical presence can never be replaced. That ambience of Prashanti Nilayam where Swami walks in, glides in, and then he sits for darshan. He enjoys the bhajans by doing these gestures. He blesses people, creates a lot of manifestations, gives to people, or chooses people for interview. Those are amazing experiences. But frankly, I missed it tremendously because Swami walked into our fold and took into his fold much later, and I had only twice visited Swami before my cancer treatment. And post that, when I got into Swami's fold very intensely and pursued all the activities including bhajan singing, I was not fortunate enough to get Swami's darshan, sambhashan, Pada darshan. That was a craving for me. I always felt that vacuum was there in my life. I always thought, when on 24th of April 2011, Swami left this physical body. 24th is anyway a very unique and significant day for me, because 24th March is when Anirudh merged into Swami. 24th of April, Swami left his physical body. And I was crying profusely as to, Swami, why did you do that? In fact, I always yearned for getting a physical darshan of you. I wanted to converse with you. I wanted to hold your feet tight and take your blessings. And I wanted to sing your glory. But Swami, you are not there. What to do? This continued for a significant period of time. But on 24th of May 2011, I would like to narrate this incident. 24th of May 2011, it was very unbearable for me. In fact, I had changed my job from Ispat Industries to a new job, the current Vibrant Global Group. The office was pretty nearby to Nerul, which is in CBD Belapur, and it was a kind of duple office, 10th floor and 11th floor. And I used to leave off home at 9:30 and reach there at 9:40, 9:45, 10 minutes drive, because office used to open at 10 o'clock. That day, I was very, very uncomfortable. I was in deep distress. I was, in fact, in the morning around 8:30, after I finished all my puja, I was crying in front of Swami. Swami, why did you leave? Why did you leave this physical body? And I was craving for his Padadarshan, physical, interaction. And Vidya was also wondering as to what happened to you, why you are so dejected, why are you so down today? And I told her this. And that day, what I did was, I left home early. I left home at 9 o'clock and reached office around 9:10, 9:15. As soon as I reached at 9:15, the office boy Madan, he always would open the office early and do all the cleaning. So my room was on the first floor, and there was an internal staircase which leads to our cabins, my cabin and chairman's cabin adjacent. So I walked into my cabin, and then I just was settling down when my office boy Madan, he called up from the reception down below and said, "Sir, आपके लिए कोई दो लोग आपसे मिलने के लिए आए हैं." And I'll talk in Hindi because that is the narration, and I'll also translate for the benefit of all. Two gentlemen have come to meet you, sir. Satya, am I audible? Is it clear?
Very, very, very clear.
Yeah, okay. And the frame is also perfect. No, there's no problem. No? There's no aberration, no?
Nothing at all.
Okay. So this boy tells me that two people have come to meet you. He said, हाँ कौन है? तो बोले दो सरदार जी आए हैं. सरदार जी मतलब सरदार जी मेरे को मिलने हैं. हाँ सर. तो बोले ठीक है चलिए ऊपर भेज दीजिए. I said please pick them up. So he brought this to Sardar ji Sahab. One Sardar was a tall, gigantic person with white robes and like kind of kafni, and that this thing he would put a bag on the shoulders, like how Shri Sai Baba puts. And another Sardarji was shorter. He was having an orange robe, and he was also having a bag in his shoulder. And they were standing. They came, they opened my door, and they were standing. I said, Namaste. Oh, they didn't utter a single word. Then this orange robe person, he said, Baba, आपसे अनुमति चाहते हैं. I said, I didn't realize what it is. See, the monkey mind is that I was not in a frame of mind. Secondly, two Sardarji is coming early in the morning. So immediately by default, my hand went into my purse, saying that, okay, these two gentlemen would have come for some chanda because they will be collecting something for some langar or whatever it is. I said immediately my instinct was to take out something for contribution. He said, no. He immediately, the orange colored person said, na Baba, na. Baba आपसे कुछ बात करना चाहते हैं. I said, Baba आप हमसे बात करना चाहते हैं. See this monkey mind. Till such time, I didn't have even the courtesy to offer seats to them. And I was standing, they were standing, and I was conversing. Me on my side of the table and they on the other side of the table. So I said, fine. Then again, he just gestured to the chair and said, बाबा आपकी अनुमति चाहते हैं, आपसे बात करना चाहते हैं. Then I understood, अच्छा आप बैठिए, आप दोनों बैठिए, अब अपन बात कर सकते हैं करके. Then I offered the seat. Then both of them sat. The white robe person did not speak at all. All this orange colored person was only speaking. Then he said, there were gestures that were happening between white robe person and the orange robe person. Orange robe person was looking at white robe person did something like this. He said, बाबा आपसे अनुमति चाहते हैं, आपसे कुछ बात करना चाहते हैं. और उसके पहले मैं एक बता दूं कि बाबा ये कह रहे हैं कि आप 5 साल काफी कठिनाइयों से गुजरे हैं. You have, in the last 5 years, you have undergone a lot of sufferings. Baba is saying that. In fact, Baba knows that you had 2 sons. Mark the words, you had 2 sons. आपके 2 बच्चे थे. He used the word थे. I was taken aback how this gentleman would know थे. Then he said that आपको काफी गुस्सा आता है, आपकी पत्नी जो है काफी प्यार करती है, बहुत प्रेम है उनमें, और आपका जो लड़का है ना, बड़ा लड़का, वो काफी अच्छा रहेगा. These were the white colored robe person was telling orange colored robe person, and this person was telling me in Hindi all this. I said these are something which is out of the world. The conversation began in a totally different way where he is talking about me and my particulars. So I was becoming more attentive. They sat.
Please translate those statements into English for the benefit of others.
Yes, I will do that, definitely. So all the time, the white colored person would gesture, the orange colored person would, speak. This was what was happening. The orange colored person then said, बाबा इस सिलसिले में आपसे कुछ प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं. He wants to ask you some questions. I said, fine. Let him go ahead and ask the questions. So then he pointed out towards a paper and he said, आप वो पेपर निकाल लीजिएगा, बाबा आपसे कुछ प्रश्न पूछेंगे. He will ask you some questions. You answer those questions and you write it out. Those answers you write it out, and you don't have to show it to him. You write, हमको नहीं दिखना चाहिए. We shouldn't see it. I said, fine. What are those questions? So Baba was doing like this. He said, your second son whom you lost, write his name. And he said, it starts with A. It starts with A. His name was Anirudh. So he asked me to write. I wrote in English, Anirudh. Then his date of birth, I wrote 16th March 1995, I wrote. 1996, I wrote. Then he said, you also, आप उसको कब त्याग दिए? When did you part with him? I wrote 24th March. Then आपका बड़ा लड़का, your first son, whose name also starts with A, write his name. His name is Aditya. All this was coming from his end and was bewildering for me to know as to how he was knowing all this. So I wrote Aditya. Then his date of birth, I wrote. Then Vidya's name I wrote. He was asking all this. Then Patni ka naam likho, date of birth, my marriage day. All this I have written. All these were basic statistics that he made me write on a piece of paper in a sequence. And then he said, then Baba, the white colored person looked at the orange colored person and said, then he said, so then he asked, orange colored, Baba is asking, चाहते हैं आपकी दिल की इच्छा मनोकामना जो है आप उसको लिखें. Whatever is your sincere wish from the heart, you please put it on a piece of paper and write it. See this monkey mind. All along I was writing properly in English all these answers, and that time I thought, okay, this person would have done all the detailing and done some groundwork or got something from he must have done some groundwork, legwork it would have done. So that's why he's asking. So what I did was I took it near my printer on the side, and hiding from him, I wrote in Tamil, whatever is my wish. All along I was writing in English. This I wrote in Tamil. And lo and behold, this white colored robe person started laughing. He started laughing. I was wondering what has made him laugh. Then the orange colored person says that he was saying like this. So he said, बाबा आपको कह रहे हैं कि इस पेपर को, this piece of paper, you please shred into small pieces and destroy it completely. Okay, he doesn't want to see what he has written, what you have written, shred it into pieces. So like me also, like I did not leave an iota of chance. I mean, I shred it into smallest piece so that even one alphabet is not visible. So that is the kind of monkey mind that I had, at that point in time. And then he said, put it on the table. So I put it on the table. Okay. So what he did was, he just put his hand on the shredded pieces of paper like this. Okay, the white colored Baba, he put it like this, and then he just closed his eyes. And then he did like this, and he said, gave it to me and said, put it in the bin. I put it in the bin. I put it in the dustbin. So it was out of sight. Then the orange colored person says, Baba is seeking permission to tell you something. I said, Bilkul, why not? So the white colored person, he says, so I asked me for a sheet of paper. So I gave a sheet of paper from the printer, one A4 sheet paper I gave. Then he said like this. So my pen was like this. So I took out the pen and gave it to Swami. Okay. So what he did was, he started writing. He started writing in the reverse. Okay. He was sitting on the other side, but he was writing as I could see it. So he was writing, for him it was ulta. He was writing Anirudh. Okay. He was writing 16th March 1996, 24th March 2006, Aditya. Everything he was writing in nice English, continuously, all in the same sequence that I had asked. He had asked me, and I had written and shredded into pieces the same thing he wrote. And then the last question, when it came to the last question, he said, that is the first time that dear Swami really spoke. He said, आप क्या जानते हैं, आपको क्या लगता है, बाबा आपका मातृभाषा नहीं जानते हैं? That is, what do you think? Baba does not know your mother tongue? आपकी मनोकामना पूरी हो जाएगी. Your wish will be completely fulfilled. What I had written in that particular Tamil message was, Swami, உன்னுடைய நாமத்தை நான் துதித்துக் கொண்டே இருக்கணும். That is, see, I have to continuously do your namasmarana and keep singing your glory. That is the kind of wish that I had written in Tamil. Of all wishes, this is what I had written. And he says that, Baba, आप नहीं जानते हो, ये नहीं जानते हैं कि आपकी मातृभाषा. That is the time that this monkey mind realized that, oh my goodness, today, in fact, I had that intense craving for darshan, sambhashan, pada darshan of Swami, and here is Swami coming and revealing himself, and I am not able to recognize. And in that flash of the moment, I started desperately crying. I said, Swami, I came to the other side for the first time, and I prostrated and said, can I do Pada Namaskar? मैं आपका चरण स्पर्श कर सकता हूं? So he said, जरूर करिए, please do. And like how Swami gracefully lifts this thing like this and offers Pada Darshan, like he says, Tisku, same thing he lifted. And for a minute or two, I was just holding his feet, putting my head and I had embraced Swami completely. And that is the time that I realized that he was none other than Swami. Swami, who had come not in one form, but he had come in two forms, proving the dictum, Ekoham Bahushyami, the one willed to manifest into many. Aneka Rupaya Namaha. We read it in Sai Ashtotram, Aneka Rupaya Namaha, who wills into many, he takes different forms. Siddha Sankalpaya Namaha, he wills to come into a life, that is his will, Siddha Sankalpaya Namaha. He transcends time. Okay, so Kala Kalaya Namaha. All these attributes he proved on that particular day, and he gave me this Padadarshan, and then he did like this and lifted me and asked me to again sit on the chair. I sat with I was hesitating to sit as standing, but he said sit. So he made me sit on the chair, and then Baba started speaking. He said, "Aap kafi cut." Same orange colored person, what he had at the beginning told, he started narrating. "Aap kafi kathinayi se gujre ho. 5 saal mein, I mean, you have undergone a lot of troubles in the last 5 years. You have lost your son, Anirudh. Your elder son is going to be doing very good. He's going to be devote." He did not say anything. Sai Bhakt, he didn't say. But yes, he said, and then he said, "Kafi prem karo, give lot of love to him. Aap kabhi us par gussa na karna. Never get angry on him." Then he said, "Your wife is Lakshmi. He is the one who brought prosperity in your lives." He used the word Lakshmi Ma. I mean, see, few things which you can never fathom. I can, looking back, why these words came back in such pregnant words is because definitely when I was undergoing cancer treatment in Hinduja Hospital, my parents were there at home, or they were taking care of Aditya, and Vidya's parents were taking care too. At that time, Vidya was there in the hospital taking care of me, much more than what a mother could do. That is the kind of care that she took. So the Ma word was so pregnant at that point in time, which reveals to me at this point in time that yes, she not only displayed that quality of wife, but also a Ma. And definitely, yes, Swami was so benevolent in giving that darshan. Then he said, "Kabhi gussa mat karna, kafi prem karna." That's what he said. And then he said, I again asked for a sheet of paper again. And this time he said, he only was speaking this time. And he said, कि आप 1 से 10 6 number लिखिएगा. From numbers 1 to 10, you write any 6 random numbers. I made into small chits, and then it made me write. I wrote 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the 6 I wrote. And then he said, okay, आप एक नंबर लीजिए और उसको फाड़ के फेंक दीजिए, जो आपको पसंद नहीं फाड़ के फेंक दीजिए. So I struck off 3, then I struck off 7, I struck off 5, okay, then I struck off 10. All these were squashed. Then remained 2 numbers which were 8 and 9. Then he said, अभी आपको एक को फाड़ के फेंकना है. I was in a dilemma. The dilemma is for 2 reasons. One is 9 is a number so sacred. After having come to Swami's fold, it's a sacred number for Bhagwan, Baba and Shirdi Baba. So that is something. 8 is a number which was so dear to Anirudh, my son. All the time when we were in Tata Memorial, he would choose 418 as the room number in which every time we would get admitted. we would have got him admitted for at least 20-25 times, and he would have stayed in that room for almost more than 8 months or 7 months, on and off, he would have stayed in that room. But 418 is a room ending with 8. That is a number that he always wanted. And later, I also came to know that 8 is a number also signifying Guru. Not only one Guru, but 2 Gurus. This is something which somebody told me, one very close devotee of Swami. She told me. In fact, Anagatai, there is one person who came into our lives sometime in Nerul. She told me that 8 is a very sacred number and it denotes 2. And then I realized that yes, we were staunch devotees of Mahapariva, Kanchi Shankaracharya. Even now, we follow that. And that Guru was already there in our lives. And then Swami decided to walk into our lives. And so we had the blessings of 2 Gurus in our lives. So at that point in time, I was in a dilemma as to what should I do. But what I did was, I took the courage and scratched 8 and put it off. Though it was very dear to Anirudh. That time, there was such a kind of exuberance on the face of the white colored robe, Baba, Swami. Oh, aapko Guru ka number kafi pasand hai. He was saying that you love Guru's number. Is it 9? That's what said. So that Antaryami, he knew everything. The chit which I did not strike off is something which was there with me, but he knew that it was number 9. So after this, he said, please do one thing. You add up all the numbers that you have scrapped. So I added, 3, 5, 7, 8 and 10, I added, it added to 33. The calendar's day, he asked me for the calendar. I took out the calendar. 24th May was the day, exactly 1 month after Swami left his physical body. And then I counted, it came to 26th of June on the calendar. He made me mark that. And he said, इस दिन में आपको कुछ अच्छा होगा, आप ये बिल्कुल सोच के रख लीजिएगा, ये बाबा का वचन है. He circled it and left it like that. And then he said, again he said the same thing about प्रेम, love. आप प्रेम दीजिएगा और प्रेम काफी दीजिएगा, गुस्सा मत करना. These are the 2 inputs that Swami gave very emphatically to me. And then he said, मैं आऊंगा, I will come again, I will partake, मैं आपके घर में आके आपके साथ खाना खाऊंगा. He said, I will partake lunch or dinner with you, I will come again. This is what Swami assured. And I was wondering as to how this is going to happen. But now I realize, after coming into Swami's fold, that each one is Swami Sai who is entering into our house. In fact, after all this that had happened, almost after spending 4 or 5 years into Swami's fold and getting into bhajans and all those, once I got in touch with Haryana, that was the first time that Haryana walked into our lives. But even before I knew that he walked into our lives, he had already come. I will show some slides which depict that, At the end, I'll go through the slides. But that was the time when Haryana came to our house. We had a program. So we could host all Swami's students like Haryana, Koteyanna, Sunam sir, Rupak Sharma, so many people, Ravi Kumar, and then Ashwath, Anirudh, all of them have come and stayed with us. Vivek Karme, so many, name, everyone has come. So I would say that Swami is coming, still coming, continuing to come to our house in the form of these chosen instruments and giving us an opportunity to, offer them something and partake that prasadam ourselves. Not to exclude the wonderful Sai Geetam family who had come, and we were blessed to have them in our house. So that is the interpretation that I could take out of all what Swami said, that I will come and partake lunch with you or dinner with you. And then these two Babas, they left, they stood up, and again I came, I prostrated their feet, and they said, "Hum nikal rahe hain." Then I escorted them. They climbed on the steps to get into the 10th floor, and then got into the lift. The moment they got into the lift, I also wanted to get into the lift, but he said, "Wait." The moment he said, "Wait," so I couldn't get into that lift. One most important thing that I forgot, which is something which I am reminded. After all this, Swami asked me to show my hand like this. And what Swami does? He does like this, and he pours something into my hand. And what he pours into my hand is this. This is a small Hanuman locket which Swami gives into my hand, and he says, कि आपके पास सदैव रखिएगा, आपके पास रखिएगा. And I have put it in the altar, and I prostrate every day. I do abhishekam to all this, and again. And then after that, there are many episodes where Swami has blessed Vibhuti in this thing that he has manifested. But now, whenever we are in crisis, it is something which, even if we have to go to the hospital, it is something which we carry. This is something which is mandatory for us, because Swami said, "Aap rakhiye isko, aapke saath hi rakhiye." And this is what Swami has blessed. If you see very closely, it is a Hanuman. Again, a Sanjeevani Hanuman. This is the Sanjeevani part of it, that with a mountain. Anirudh materialized the photo with Sanjeevani Hanuman. Swami gave Sanjeevani Hanuman. The locket given by Hyderabad Swami again was Sanjeevani Hanuman. All these Hanumans had a connection. Anirudh used to chant Hanuman Chalisa relentlessly. So Hanuman is someone who is there with us always, and he has inspired us always. And Swami has also continued to bless us with Hanuman all the time. Okay, and not only that, one small thing I'll just quickly shift, and I don't know if I have. Yeah, okay. I have, in fact, we have a small Hanuman pendant which is there on the pelmet, and which Vidya's sister Narayani from US, when she had come, she had gifted to her, and we put it on that top pelmet. And after a few days, we find that behind that, so much of Vibhuti has accumulated. So, and that is also Sanjeevani Hanuman. So all related to Hanuman, Swami has really been blessing us with. So once this happened, they got up, got into the lift, and I was wanting to go with them. Suddenly they stopped. They said like this. Okay. Then I was not allowed to get in. They went down. I quickly, immediately walked down the stairs, one step down, and went into the lift, pressed the button. I went down, and then as I got down, I told the watchman, "Abhi do Sardar ji the, wo kahan pe? Wahan kahan pe?" That watchman is saying, "Kaun Sardar ji? साहब मैं तो यहीं पे बैठा हूँ, ना सरदार जी आए हैं ना सरदार जी गए." नहीं, वो एक लंबे थे, वो सफेद कलर के और एक ऑरेंज कलर के सबने। साहब आप तो मेरे को देखे, आप सवेरे सवेरे आ गए, मैं अभी भी वहीं पे बैठा हूँ, अब तब से यहीं पे बैठा हूँ, कोई भी आए नहीं, कोई भी गए नहीं. So what does it signify? That earnest desire of any devotee. Swami is always there, always there. You call him from your heart, he's always there. As I was telling you now, this entire cosmos is filled with this energy. You have to just tap that energy and he's there. That is why Swami says that I am God, you are God. But I know I am God. You don't know you are God. That Sai is residing in you. You have to realize that. And when you call him intensely, he's always there to tap you. So that's what I always say. Engu CHENRALUM NEERUPPAI. And I would come, in fact, we have a lot of time. I would come to the second part of the narrative today, where Swami has been taking care of us continuously. And me and Vidya have also surrendered to him completely and dedicated our lives to service, other aspects. We do it with a lot of passion, with a lot of interest. And to the extent possible, we try to help people. Like Anirudh had taken a promise and he had told Vidya, दुनिया में कितने सारे बेचारे बच्चे हैं, आप सबको माँ की तरह देखेगी क्या? So many children are there in this world. Will you look after them like your own children? Bechare means people who really are needy. And to be honest, Vidya does it with sincerity and purpose. Like my driver's children, or let's say my party, we call her party fondly, Tamil party, who does our housework. She has got a peti, and so many children. She espouses good causes for all these children by teaching them, by supporting them. We do a lot of such things. So Swami has really shown us the path and firmly entrenched. But at each point in time, let it be a small, trivial decision. We leave it to Swami, and he definitely shows his visiting card. And it has happened all the time. Now we are no more enamored by his visiting cards, because initially we were very thrilled that, okay, in the photos, Swami's Vibhuti used to appear. When Aditya had gone to US, the day he went to US, when we came back from the airport, we saw some scribblings on the photos. It was in Urdu, something like, oh, that kind of thing. But all it comes, it vanishes. That's all Swami's grace. But so far, I mean, it's purely his grace. He always shows his presence, and that makes us more responsible. We have to be more vigilant to be fully following his teachings and doing things. I would just sing one of these compositions that I was telling about to get into the next part of the theme that I want to narrate, in which I can tell you that Sai Geetam family has been such a stellar support in our entire period that we are passing through. They've always been encouraging, supportive, but all the devotees, all my friends, Sai friends, in fact, are leaving no stones unturned in this hour where we need all their love and support. And that is what I'm going to narrate in the next phase of my, Swami's Bhagavatam, or Swami's love that he pours on us. I would just sing a few lines from the composition that Swami gave, and which I offered at the lotus feet of Bhagavan on 23rd November 2021. எங்கு சென்றாலும் நீருப்பாய், எல்லா தருணத்தில் அரைவணைப்பாய், சாய்நாதா என் சத்குருநாதா, சாய்நாதா என் சத்குருநாதா, எங்கு சென்றாலும் நீருப்பாய், மனதில் சஞ்சலம் உள்ளத்தில் குழப்பம், மனதில் சஞ்சலம் உள்ளத்தில் குழப்பம், உன்னை நினைத்ததில் நான் தெளிவு பெற்றேனே, அன்பின் சிகரம், அன்பின் சிகரம், ஆருயிர் நாதா, சாய்நாதா என் சத்குருநாதா, சாய்நாதா என் சத்குருநாதா, எங்கு சென்றாலும் நீருப்பாய். ராமரை கண்டேன், கண்ணனை துதித்தேன், ராமரை கண்டேன் கண்ணனை துதித்தேன் வடிவேல் முருகனை தினம் வழங்கினேன் எல்லோரும் ஒன்றென்று உன்னை அரவணைத்தேன் எல்லோரும் ஒன்றென்று உன்னை அரவணைத்தேன் சாய்நாதா என் சத்குருநாதா அனைத்ததும் ஒன்றே என்று உணர்ந்தேன் பரம்பொருள் நீனே என் உயிர் நீனே பரம்பொருள் நீனே என் உயிர் நீனே எங்கு சென்றாலும் நீ இருப்பாய் wherever I go you are there Swami wherever I go you are there my Guru, my Sadguru SAINAATHA. Coming back to the next episode, we have been living a glorious life, very happy. But Swami says, pleasure is an interval between two pains. He has always been saying this plenty of times. And he always says that a true devotee would display equanimity. He would display complete surrender. And he says, every day I have made it a point to read the surrender calendar, that words, that we as human beings are so selfish in our prayers that we ask what we want and we don't ask Swami what is good for us. Swami is like Tathastu. Whatever you ask, he will never say no, he will say yes. But if you surrender to him and ask him for whatever is good for you, he is there always with you. Even if he gives trouble, he ensures that you undergo the trouble with least torment. It's like that tale of, Swami says, if you have to undergo karma, there is no question about it. Everybody has to face the retribution for the karma, that prarabdha karma. But what he says is, what I can do with my grace is I cannot cancel the karma, but I can mitigate the effects of the karma. And he cites an example that as a musafir in this journey of life, if you are going to carry heavy 10 kilos of coins as your karma, what he can do is he can replace this entire coins of 10 lakhs with equivalent rupees of, let's say, 2000 rupees notes, so that it becomes lighter and your journey is smoother. But yet you have to undergo that karma. So with that in mind, I'll narrate the next phase, what we are undergoing through. And I'm sure with Swami's grace, we will overcome this phase also. Up to end of December, of course, the 2 years of the COVID period, it was very testing period, but it was also a wonderful period because you could connect one-to-one with Swami. You could have so many satsangs. I've attended so many satsangs organized by Sai Geetam, which is such a wonderful endeavor that it has continued uninterrupted since, let's say, I think it started in somewhere in February 2020, if I'm not mistaken, but it has almost for 2.5 years, it has continued uninterrupted for all Sundays. And who is a speaker? Nobody knows. Swami will give enough signals. At the last minute, he will come and give. Like, for instance, I'm so blessed that Anand is also today listening, where I, being in Bombay, couldn't listen to him for so many years of being in close proximity, but Swami gave through Sai Geetam this opportunity to listen to him. That's what Swami does. And today, in fact, I am blessed because I never thought I would speak to our dear Sai Geetam family after such a long time, when I was there with them physically, where I could feel that nectarine love that they had poured on us, in the form of everything, in the form of the hospitality, in that beautiful satsang at Batam, in Satya's house, what kind of beautiful bhajan sessions we had, that practice sessions. memorable, absolutely memorable. But all this in this 2 years, it all beautifully went on. And then, like I said, pleasure is an interval between two pains, and up to December it was a smooth sailing. Up to 23rd December, it was absolute smooth sailing. Okay. And 23rd December of 2021, it was beautiful sailing. But before that, I just wanted to draw your attention to something which happened on 21st of December. Our dear Sai Surinath sir had come to Mumbai in the end of December for his personal work, and his son Dr. Subhash was also there with him. And he, because of COVID protocols at that point in time, he did not want to stay at our house, though I had offered that. And then for commuting also, it was not convenient. He was staying at Dharmakshetra and exercising a lot of care. And incidentally, during this COVID, Vidya's father had Sadabhishekam, day, but we couldn't perform it physically. And as luck would have it, his son, that is Vidya's brother, had flown from UK, and they were here, and we decided to perform the Ekadashi Rudram. That Ekadashi Rudram we had performed at his house. Okay, physical Rudram, 11 times chanting Veda Paravata, that we had done, in fact. And we had requested Sai sir, if it possible, please come, but he said no, this physical thing is not possible. But what he said is, Srinivasan, I will come to your office. So on 21st of December, he came to my office along with Subhash, and what he does is, we were talking very nicely, and is this visible now?
It's not, it's sharing.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll 1 second. I'll share the screen. Sorry, I have to share the screen. Yeah, is it now clear? Visible? Yeah. So when Sai sir had come, he had given 4-5 photographs of 2022 pocket calendar, which had this Swami in Abhay Hasta, why fear when I am here? It is normal for Swami's quotes to be there in each of this. Okay, so I didn't really note that very clearly, okay, to be honest. And then, okay, Swami's Prasadam is coming, so he had given Vibhuti also. That was also 3-4 packets of Vibhuti he had given. So I was very happy. In fact, I came and told my mother, and I had put it in the house. Vidya was staying with the parents that time, and in fact, I was taking care of my parents here and then going there, in fact. So 21st he came, he gave all this to me, and that's it. On 23rd December, after this entire ceremony was over, 20th December, the Monday was that Sadabhishekam. Okay, 21st December, Sai sir comes and gives this Vibhuti and this photo to me. And next 2 days, it's little tricky and difficult for Vidya, because she is experiencing some health issues. Okay, and then 23rd, she for the first time told me that I'm undergoing this problem. I said, please go to SEMA doctor. See, I speak at 10:30, 10:45 and said, please leave now. She says, no, I am preoccupied. But what came to her mind, I don't know. I could speak to SEMA doctor. It has to go by appointment only, but she said, no, please send her. And Vidya also decided to go, and she met the doctor who examined Vidya, and she said, please go to a good gynecologist immediately, rush. That happened on 23rd of December. On 24th of December, I also took leave, and then we went to Apollo Hospital and took Vidya along. I'm sharing this personal narrative, which is so personal to me, only for instilling confidence to all the devotees across that Swami is there always. When you surrender, Swami is always there. Okay, and let's not forget about the importance of prayers. That is something which you will all come to know when I narrate the entire episodes. On 24th, we go to Apollo Hospital, meet the doctor. She also examines. She feels something grim. She does pap smear there, and the next day she says, please go for ultrasound. Immediately we do ultrasound. Ultrasound is done, and then MRI. She says ultrasound. We went in the morning for ultrasound. We got the report, showed to her, and on Saturday it was not a good ultrasound at all. Okay, they found some growth within the uterus. Okay, and immediately Apollo doctor advised to consult, do MRI, which we immediately in the same day evening, we were fortunate enough to get appointment in Swastik Scans in Vashi, and we did MRI too. When we did MRI, and the MRI report was very poignantly clear that it was a tumor which was malignant. The malignancy was there, okay, and clinically correlate and do further. That's what it is, this thing. And I spoke to the doctor, okay, and the written report was not available, but I spoke to the doctor. Then he shared the films. He gave the films. The written report was supposed to come the next day early morning. So we were totally shaken, absolutely shaken. Again, all the ordeals. My son had, he had merged into Swami because of blood cancer. Swami cured me from cancer, and now again to Vidya, this malignancy. Why, Swami? Why? Why to us? Why? That question is something which you can never get an answer. But when we come back, okay, what do you see? My mother was fiddling with the drawers, okay, on 25th December after the MRI scan is over, and we discover this packet of Vibhuti, which Amma says that Vibhuti also I found it inside. I don't know what it is, but just see. And what is written? Shakti Shanti Sai Sanjeevani Vibhuti. And name is also mentioned. Name dash. So we had to fill up the name Vidya Srinivasan. So it was like Swami had prepared us mentally that I am giving you Sai Sanjeevani Vibhuti and I will take care of you entirely. This is the signal that he gave. He gave that confidence. And at the first sight of any visiting card or signal like this, at least me and Vidya get 100% confidence. Our morale gets boosted. So that moment of dejection, why me, why Vidya, that all vanished because we knew that Swami is already taking charge. Okay, so even if Sai sir had given this Vibhuti, which I had not noticed it that day, Swami has implanted this through Sai sir in the form of this Vibhuti. Because when Sai sir gave this Vibhuti, it was automatic. We kept it in the laptop bag. I gave it, I put it in this thing, altar. Okay, and it would have gone. So that is where it is, in fact. But Shakti Shanti Sai Sanjeevani Vibhuti is something which Swami blessed us with when she was diagnosed as having malignant tumor. We were on that night, we were contemplating what to do. We consulted our family doctor whom to approach for treatment. She said Apollo is a good option, but you are comfort, you have been treated in Hinduja, why don't you go to Hinduja again? That is something which stuck to me. Sunday morning, 26th early morning, I call up Dr. Kannan. Okay. So please note, I call up Dr. Kannan in the morning and say, I have a problem, sir. I said, what happened? I said, Vidya has a problem, such and such. So what a normal reaction would be, okay, you do this or you do that karke. He says, Ram, please come tomorrow. We'll take care of everything. Don't worry. I will line up completely. See, how I translate it is, we hear it is like, okay, his salutation is normally Ram. We do Sai Ram, he does Ram. But it is as if Swami enveloping and say, please come. I will take care completely of everything. Don't worry. So the dilemma of whom to approach for treatment, where to go for treatment, is resolved in a jiffy. Manadil sanchalam ullattil kulappam unnai ninaithadil naan telivu petrene. We were in entire dilemma as to whom to consult, which doctor to consult, where to go. Through Dr. Kannan, he made it very clear and said, Hinduja is your destination. And next day, we go to Hinduja Hospital. On 27th, he has already lined up. He has spoken to the oncologist. He has spoken to the onco surgeon. She sees, examines. She does the biopsy on the spot, on the examination table itself. And it is sent for sampling. And you know what is her name? Dr. Sampada Desai. You would have heard names of Desai up to number of times. I have heard plenty of times DESAI, but I have never come across a word DESSAI. And both me and Vidya are tuned to only pick up these signals these days. We see Sai in everything. So Vidya says, see, Sai is here also. See how Swami arranges. So Dr. Sampada Desai was very new to Hinduja Hospital. She's reputed, but she has tremendous experience. But she examined and she was a surgeon who was going to perform. And then on 28th of December, she was supposed to undergo a PET scan at Hinduja Hospital. Because Dr. Sampada had sent the reports for biopsy, and on 28th, PET scan was done. PET scan is a rigorous process. I have undergone many times in life. So she was there without any on fasting since morning, and this ordeal continued for 2-3 hours. Okay. And in the meantime, I was also speaking to few people officially also, and I was also speaking to our side. Especially, I was speaking to Vidya of Parthi, Gangadhar Mama's daughter, Vidya. Okay, I was speaking to her because her program was supposed to be there during that period, which we were coordinating. So I said, Sai Ram, how are you? And also with that salutation, we speak. So once she came out of the PET scan, she said, everything is over after 3 hours. Then I said, did the doctor ask you to go? We can go leave now, or can you take something now? Because I had taken juices and everything. So she said, no, I didn't ask. So then what I did is immediately I went inside that cubicle where that X-ray screens are there. And I said, sir, I knocked and said, sir. So one gentleman came. Then he said, kya? So I told him that Vidya Srinivasan ka bhi jo hua hai, can she go? Can she take something? So he said, yeah, you can go. You can give her something to eat. So we came out of that cabin, and in the sitting area, I was giving her juice. The same gentleman who had answered about it, he came out and he said, sir, are you by chance Sathya Sai Baba's devotee? I was taken aback. In Hinduja Hospital, somebody asking in that PET scan room, are you Sathya Sai Baba devotee? I said, why are you asking, sir? Okay. So he said, no, I was, when I were doing PET scan, no, since it is a closed room, voice carries, so you were talking to someone with the salutation Sai Ram, and I could hear that. And being a Swami student, that's why I'm asking you. My goodness, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps because in that obscure place like Hinduja Hospital, Swami sends his own instrument in the form of Rajkiran, who comes out and says, "Are you a Sathya Sai Baba devotee?" and introduces himself, and he says, "I have studied in Prashanti Nilayam for 4 years, nuclear physics," and he has joined them after doing engineering. He studied there, and then he has joined them as nuclear technologist in that department. So he says, then is the salutation of sir changed, and he says, "Uncle, don't worry, uncle. Swami is there with auntie and she'll be completely cured." These are his words. So Swami is so loving. He's there all the time, everywhere. Engu CHENRALUM nee iruppai. Wherever I go, you are there. That's what Swami is portraying. And he's always giving that assurance that please hold me tightly. I will take care of you. I will take care of you. On 29th December, after the PET scan reports came and it was finally diagnosed that she had the endometrium carcinoma, it was decided that the tumor has to be shrunk and then it has to be followed by surgery. And the date was scheduled immediately. Like they said, we don't want to postpone it. So immediately they said, 3rd January, can we do it? We did not bother. We said, fine, whatever needs to be done next we'll do. So 3rd January, we nodded the head and came back. 3rd January was Monday, and unfortunately that was a Pradama, in which normally we don't start a particular assignment which is new. For us, this was a treatment that was to begin for curing her ailment. But we didn't notice that. We didn't note that also. This was there in the mind of my father-in-law and mother-in-law, but they did not. They were already depressed. My mother also noticed that, but they were hesitant to tell to us because at this juncture, what was supposed to be done, that we were doing logically next. But Swami, how he decides, see, because Swami also says, Rahugalam lam pakanam. So he also believes in all this, no? So how is his plan? How he fits it? Before 3rd, she had to undergo COVID test, because before admission, COVID test has to be done. She has to be COVID negative to administer and get admitted to the hospital. That was the protocol. So we tested for COVID and she tested negative. Okay. She tested negative on Saturday. And because she had little bit of irritation in the throat, she was staying, okay, my mother and father had little cough, and she was staying with her parents. I told her to stay with the parents. So COVID test was done for my mother, my father, myself, and Vidya. Vidya turned negative. Appa turned negative. I turned negative. My Amma came positive on Saturday. Okay, Saturday night the report comes. Sunday I admit my mother to Hinduja Hospital and I tell the doctor that though Vidya has been tested negative, this is the case, my mother has tested positive. So what he says, you have to repeat the test again. So on Sunday again we repeat the test. On the Sunday night, Vidya gets a COVID positive report, which means on 3rd the chemotherapy cannot commence. Swami has stalled that commencement on Pradamai. And then the whole thing shifts. After 8 days, the chemotherapy is, COVID test is repeated. They said after 8 days, you please, because it is the smaller variant, which does not require 14 days, the Omicron variant. So after 8 days, after the COVID report is negative, she can come for chemotherapy. That's what doctors advise. So we did test on 11th. Okay. on 10th we did negative. It was positive for me. It was negative for me. Negative for her. Okay, that was okay. So somebody has to accompany her to the hospital. So the obvious choice is my brother-in-law had come here. Okay, so we said, okay, after 2 days we have to take her for this thing. So you also test yourself for, because both the attendant also should be tested. When he tested, he became positive. So that was also ruled out. So by doing all this, on Wednesday, finally, when the test was repeated for me and Vidya, both turned negative. And then when we turned negative, doctor said, you please come and admit her on 13th of January for chemotherapy. And you know what the 13th day is? 13th is Thursday. Swami chooses 13th January, Thursday, for the first treatment of chemotherapy of Vidya. And that day, when after the chemotherapy has started, I call up Dr. Kannan and say, Vidya's chemotherapy has commenced today. He says, Ram Ram, Romba Sandosham, Vaikunta Ekadashi, Romba Nanarko, Ella Pramadam. On that auspicious occasion of Vaikunta Ekadashi on Thursday, I mean, I don't know what to say, Ma Swami. I don't know what to say. He plans, even the dates he plans, nothing is in our hands. Decides to commence the treatment on 13th. First chemotherapy gets over on 13th. Then after 21 days, the cycle has to get repeated. So again, the next cycle gets repeated on 3rd February. That also is Thursday. The next third last cycle is to be repeated again after 3 weeks. Again, it happens to be 24th February, and that also is Thursday. So all the chemotherapies of Vidya happened on Thursdays, and they did the PET scan again. The tumor had shrunk significantly. In the meantime, I have to really share that I had shared with a lot of my close Sai brothers and sisters who were continuously praying, including the lovely Sai Geetam family. They turned no leaves unturned. They were also praying. And what I'm saying is, all that is happening is the grace of Swami and the combined prayers, the love that is exuded by all my brothers and sisters. That's what I could summarize. So after all this happened, the date of surgery was to be decided. So we went to Dr. Sampada, and she had also now got an inkling that, okay, we are Sai's devotees. Okay, she was not knowing about Sathya Sai Baba. He had heard about Shri Sai Baba, but some conversations we could just keep mentioning about Anirudh and then how we are Sai's devotees. So she could relate that, and she could see that Thursdays, whenever Thursday, the next cycle, so we used to be exuberant, and they should ask, why? I said, that is Sai Day. So that's the way I used to say. So that exuberance she could catch. So when the operation date was to be decided, so we said, doctor, it's at your convenience. But lo and behold, she had already marked out in the calendar a date. Okay, and she had rounded 17th of March as the day for surgery. And this time she told that for you guys, I am choosing Thursday as my operation day. Normally, my operation days are on Monday and Friday. But seeing you, I am choosing Thursday. So she had already marked the calendar. Before we could meet, she had marked on the calendar our dates. So 17th of March was the day on which the surgery was supposed to be conducted. We got admitted to, the admission date was fixed for 15th of March, 2 days prior to the surgery, because they had to do all the testings and other formalities were there. She was to be initialized into the whole thing. So how am I running on time, Satya? Is it getting longer? maybe another 10 minutes maximum. Yeah.
Don't worry, Anna. Sai Govind Satsang doesn't have time limits.
Yeah. So on what happens on 15th of March in the morning, the day of surgery is ordained by Swami. So 15th is again decided by Swami. On 15th, what we do in the morning on the day of admission. On the day of admission, this is exactly what I wanted to show you. That in my cell phone, okay, we were looking at some videos and Swami's videos and all those things. Always we do, in fact. And what we see is a video where complete tour of Prashanti Nilayam by design of Swami we see, which starts with circumambulation of a devotee of Ganesha at M Mandir, as if we are entering into Gopuram Gate, Ganesha temple, then circumambulation of Murugan temple, okay, then getting into the inside bhajan hall, having darshan of Swami's paduka, Swami's chair, that chariot, that Arjuna and Krishna's chariot, everything, Swami's paduka, everything, and coming out, Swami's samadhi darshan and Veda chanting. This entire thing we see on the screen. That innate desire to seek blessings of Swami, that okay, Swami, I had, by the time, in fact, I had put still that is an unfinished agenda for me, which will happen with Swami's grace. I told when Swami Vidya is cured completely, I'll come to Puttaparthi and do Anga Pradashna of Ganesha. Okay, that's what I have prayed. Whether they allow it or not, I don't know. But Anga Pradashna of Ganesha. And that day, on the day of admission, what I see is that video in which the devotee is circulating Ganesha, circumambulating, and then Murugan temple, and then entire thing. So by grace of Swami, we could get that darshan. Okay. And the day before, when we were packing up everything, one lingam had materialized in our house. So that we always carry in our this thing, and that Hanuman, that is, we kept. Then Sai Sanjeevani Vibhuti we also kept for preparation. We had kept it in the bag to be carried. And then Vidya was saying that at the time of marriage, she had carried a Murugan photo, which they feel that is a live Uirudiya Murugan, or whatever the terminology is there. Na? So that Murugan is there. Okay, so she said, can I carry this? I said, already we are carrying so many this thing. We cannot make it a temple there. So okay, Manasala ni vendikone. But on 15th morning, what we see is Vidya getting darshan of that Murugan, which she wanted desperately to carry. Prashanti Nilayam Murugan darshan she is getting. See, Swami goes to what extent to satisfy devotees. Okay. After that, that's why I have written Ramarai Kandeen Kannanai Tudithen Vadivel Muruganai Dinam Vadiginen Ellorum Ondrendre Unnai Tudithen. She talks about Muruga, I talk about Ganesha, somebody talks about Rama, somebody talks about Kanna, but when you think of Sai, he is one and one, all encompassing. I'm just correlating everything to that particular song that Swami gave, and that in that mirror only, that framework only I'm trying to fit in. But it's fitting like a jigsaw puzzle. On the same day, Manadil Sanchalam, Ullattil Kurappam, Unnai Ninetadil Nan Telu Petrene. Ever since she was diagnosed with this, my son Aditya, who was in US, is there with us now. He was desperate to come to India. But he said, then we said, don't, because visa was not stamped. He's on an employment visa, but visa stamping because of COVID had not happened. Because if he comes out of US, he can't go back unless it is stamped. That was pending. His interview date was in October of 2022. So there is a procedure where against cancellation he can get it. So he was desperately trying every day. There are 2 chances, I think, or 3 chances where he will try. He was not getting against any cancellation. So this was happening for so many days. On 15th of March, when we got admitted to the hospital at 6:30, when we settled in the room, okay, we had a video call with Aditya. So it was for him just the beginning of the day, the commencement of the office, and then he was saying, அப்பா ரொம்ப ட்ரை பண்றேம்மா, நீ சர்ஜரிக்கும் வந்துட்டு அம்மா வந்துட்டு இதுவரை நான் வர முடியல, I have not been able to make it because I very much wanted to come for surgery. Then I told him, don't get confused, please pray to Swami intensely. Aditya, see, today you try today and please see, I will get this appointment. These are the words that came to from my mouth, okay? And in around this, we spoke at 6:30, 8:30, this guy calls up, very excited. He says, Appa, kadachurtu, I have got the appointment. He has got the appointment for 21st of March. Okay, 21st of March, he gets an appointment at Calcutta against cancellation. And he says that he will be able to come to India to be with Amma. And she is going for surgery on 17th. Imagine the state of mind of Vidya, that she is going into that surgery with that positive state of mind that her son, dear son, is coming and he is going to be with her in this time. Half night, 3/4 of the battle is completely won, and she is extremely happy. We are all thankful to Swami. Manadil sanchalam ullathil kulappam unna ninethadil naan telivu petrene. Think of Swami, he gives clarity. He resolves your issue in a jiffy. That's what happened. Then comes the day, the D-Day, the 17th of March, when she goes into the surgery room. She goes out of our room at around 8:30. We are not supposed to, me and my sister had also come from Thane. So we were there in the room. We are not supposed, because we are not allowed to go on the 3rd floor on the surgery, in the surgery, this thing, you know. So that is ICU surgery section. So we were asked to sit in our room. So Vidya went, we applied Vibhuti and Shiva, all those. And that day, that Swami's wife here, when I am here, that this thing, I slowly slipped into that hospital uniform. I put it into her pocket. Okay. And that remained throughout, okay? That remained throughout. Because in surgery also, what they do, see, they do something and they take it up and then they put their clothes and everything, okay? So that was there with her. And what she says, she remembers is, I got into the room and I was seeing so many doctors and that anesthesia, everything was there. They were speaking to me and I said, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. And then suddenly I totally lost consciousness. So that Sai Ram was into her mind and she lost consciousness. That is, some anesthesia she would have pricked, but she was not knowing. She went into that Sai Ram mode. And we were there eagerly waiting for the update to come. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, 3 hours passed. Doctor had said anyway that it will take 3.5, 4 hours. So 9 o'clock, perhaps the surgery had begun. Okay, and up to 2 o'clock, there was no news. But in the meantime, what had happened was, first thing in the morning, my sister Jayashri, she sends me messages. She sent me this message, which was so powerful. She sends to me and Vidya. So we saw on the that was the day of Holi Dahan. 18th was Ranga Panchami, 18th was Holi Dahan. In the auspicious fires of Holika Dahan, burn away all your fear, all your anxiety, all your pain, O child. Make an offering of all that is dark, that is unwanted, into the holy flames, and then wake up on the beautiful festival of Holi to a colorful, happy canvas of your new empowered life. This is something which was a clear indication that, okay, whatever was ill, that is going to be burnt away and you are going to get a new lease of life after the surgery. I send messages to my closest, including Satya and the Singapore team, about how Vidya has been taken into the surgery room, okay, to operate upon her. And I prayed that Swami does her surgery through all the surgeons there. And at 10:30, our dear Satya sends a message. Just finished our prayers, offered Dhanvantri Mantra, Durga Suktam, medicines, Buddha Mantra, Sai Gayatri, Indrakshi Sutram, concluding with Aarti. Pita joined us. Swami showered his blessings twice by dropping flowers from 2 photos, Krishna and Shirdi Sai. Blessings. Both the surgeries today, Vidya's and Gangamani's. Gangamani is Shivaramakrishnan Anna, Satya's Anna's wife, who had undergone knee surgery. till such that time I was also not knowing about that. But this lovely Sai Geetam family had decided to pray on the day of surgery, and Swami, in his infinite grace, bestows grace by showing his visiting card, by dropping flowers and giving his grace. He's there all the time. And he would always show the signals. It is for us to pick up those signals. I was so happy, so exuberant, and I was so happy for Gangamani also, because 2 flowers had fell. The prayers were for 2 people. 2 flowers fell. What is significance? And even in the next thing that had happened, I could correlate that only, which I'm coming to. Okay. The words of Satya, I mean, you must really look at the words. I am a greedy person, and hence even asked Swami to cancel the issue, as we have seen in many cases. So when the doctor opened, he didn't have much to do. See, my dear, 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 lovely Sai friends, what is their prayer? They are seeking cancellation of cancer. Okay, with Swami's grace. Can you expect such kind of love from anyone? It is amazing, amazing love. Again, when I send a message, my dear Lata Murli auntie, she sends a message. Sairam Srinivasan, extremely happy that surgery went off well and Vidya is fine. I am not surprised by chain of blessings by Bhagwan. When I performed Guruvara Puja to Mahapariva, dedicating to Vidya's surgery and eventual complete recovery, he blessed twice. You can see the white flower on the floor. See, you can see the flower marked here. So those were that flower and one more flower that fell from the altar. One for Vidya and one for Gangamani. See, Swami's grace. It is infinite grace. Gopalan Mama. My dear Gopalan Mama, who is husband of Maithili auntie, who is no more, but she was the one who used to take care of Vidya and me in Aniru's times, and she used to take us to Sundaram auntie's place for Vibhuti and all, and she used to pray intensely. She is no more. But Gopalan Mama, he is there in my broadcast list always, but he never responds. Of all, after 3 months, on 17th March, he sends this message. Gopalan Mama sends this message on WhatsApp. உனக்கு துன்பம் வரும்போதெல்லாம் என் பெயரை உச்சரித்துவா உனக்கு நன்மை உண்டாகும் இது உறுதி. Whenever you are in peril, please chant my name and good will definitely happen. This is firm and certain. That is Swami's assurance. Definitely, Swami's Anbin Sigaram Aruyirnatha. He is pinnacle of selfless love. Aruyirnatha, my life breath. He is my everything. And this is something which is like a nail in the coffin, you know. And before that, I can tell you, okay, I'll go to this video and then come. I shared this with Satya, which Satya has circulated among the friends. On that particular day, I get a video from my dear brother Rajshekar, okay, and he sends me a video. It is a random video which he is sent. And I open the video and this is what it says.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My dear Sai brothers and Sai sisters, welcome to Divine Bliss. Sai Baba's blessings to everyone listening to this message and everyone in our Divine Bliss family who are celebrating their birthdays and wedding anniversaries today. Sai Baba says, my dear child, you are going through a difficult time in your life. I know you feel sad, defeated and disappointed. My dear child, I have come to answer your prayer. When you feel down, just think how far you have come, everything you have gotten through. All those times you have pushed on even when you felt you could not. All those times you wanted to give up, but you got through another day. Never forget how much strength you have developed along the way. My dear child, I was with you during those moments. I am with you now, and I will always be with you in your future. I have rescued you more times than you can count, and times that you don't even know. There is nothing you have simply by luck or chance. It's all due to my grace upon you. My dear child, my love for you is like nothing else in this world. It has no boundaries and it is unconditional. I love you for who you are, and I love you more than you love yourself. My dear child, don't worry about your pain and suffering right now. I will bring you out of this very soon. Have faith in me and be patient, my child. Nothing goes to waste on the journey of life. Both good and bad experiences shape your mind and heart to face your future. My dear child, I will never leave you empty handed. If I ask you to put something down, it is because I want you to pick up something greater. I am love. I am peace. I am bliss. I am truth. I am your protector. I will guard you from all directions. My grace will bless you with a happy, wealthy, healthy, and peaceful life that you have been asking for. My dear Sai sisters and Sai brothers, let us bow at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sri Sai Baba to guide us and lead a happy life. Peace be to all. Have a divine and blissful day. Om Shri Sai Ram.
See the divine assurance that Swami gives on that particular day, which is so amazing. It's a certain firm assurance. Engu Chenralum Neeruppai, Ella Tarunathil Aravanaipai, SAINAATHA and Sadgurunatha, wherever I go, you are there. In all situations and moments, you embrace me, Lord Sai, my master, mentor Sai. You are the pinnacle of love, Anbin Sigaram, my life spirit, Lord Sai, Aruirnatha. And then when what happens? 2 o'clock, these are the last two small episodes, and then we'll conclude. 2 o'clock, no message. I phone up, they nurse, they say, no news from the operation theatre. 5 minutes after 2, Ashwath rings up. Of all, Ashwath rings up. Our Ashwath Narayan, Swami student, he rings up from Puttaparthi. Because I had shared this operation thing. He was wanting to inquire as to whether the operation is successful, what has happened. So he says, Auntie, your operation aayidta, eppadi irka? Then I told, no, Auntie's operation is not yet over. She's still in the room. More than 5 hours are over. We are also just anxiously waiting. And as we were, he says, everything will be all right, uncle. The complete ella seriya production. Then he was saying this. The moment Ashwath phoned up, my nurse comes in and says, doctor has called you on the 3rd floor. The operation is over. Everything is fine, and they have called you. See, at what instances, like, why should Ashwath call? He has not spoken. See, we were been exchanging only on WhatsApp, and he calls on that particular moment as an instrument of Swami and asks about Vidya. And then the moment he asks, I get a confirmation that Vidya surgery is over. Okay, so this is what happened. So I told Ashwath, I'll talk to you later, Kanna. So I kept the phone on. Me and my sister rushed to the 3rd floor. And 3rd floor, there is a separate lift for doctors, which we had to go through. And that goes not into the operation theatre, but there is security sitting outside. So we went to the 3rd floor, and we told the security asked me, किसके लिए आए हैं, for what you have come? I said, Vidya Srinivasan का operation हुआ है, तो कौन doctor है? I told Dr. Sampada Desai. Then he spoke to someone inside, and she said, doctor has asked to wait, she's coming out, she will explain. She said, in that particular moment, one gentleman comes out with the hairnet and that blue color, this thing, that from the operation theater attendant, he comes out, and then he's proceeding towards the lift, and then he suddenly turns towards me and my sister and says, "Aap kiske liye ruke hain? For whom we are waiting?" I said, "I am waiting for my for doctor to come." "Kon patient kon hai?" So, who is the patient? I said, "Vidya Srinivasan, and Dr. Sampada Desai has operated upon her." Of all, what he says, he suddenly says, "मैं पूरा अंदर था उनके साथ, सब ठीक है और सब अच्छा हो गया है." He says that he has been there with her full time and everything is okay and she's good now. He says this and he proceeds towards the lift. And then the moment he says so, I clasp my chest and say, "Sai Ram." I just close my eyes and say, "Sai Ram." This salutation came naturally to me because somebody is giving that excellent news to me. It came to me. And what this gentleman does is he just embraces me. Of all, he hugs me. And then he says, "Sai Ram." And then he goes back and then immediately he takes out his mobile. Okay. And there is a screensaver on his mobile which is depicted here. Okay. The screensaver is depicted here. Again, Swami giving signals that मैं पूरा अंदर था उनके साथ, सब ठीक है और सब अच्छा हो गया है. Why should one person who is coming out bother to talk to us, ask about this, and then go? That is Swami's omnipresence. Wherever you go, wherever you think about him, he is there always to take care. And then Dr. Sampada Desai comes. Gleefully, she says, the operation is good. The patient has cooperated very well. Vidya has cooperated very well. And then she breaks the most best part of the news, that they had mentally prepared us previous day that there could be an opportunity that they will have to put urostomy bag and colostomy bag, where in fact if the tumor has penetrated into the urinary bladder, the urinary bladder may have to be removed, and external urinary bladder has to be placed for life, and similarly for rectum, colostomy has to be placed. But she said, by God's grace, nothing like that has happened. And she said only a part of the rectum is there which had to be stapled and taken off. So she's perfectly all right. All the parts have been removed. And then by Swami's grace, with all the prayers of all Sai Geetam family, the entire fraternity, Sai fraternity, so many people have prayed. Sai Haryana, Sundar, apna Sai Surnath sir, every day after darshan he used to phone up and say, "Today I prayed for Vidya, she'll be perfectly all right." Every day after Mandir Bhajan he will phone up and say, he will what? Anna will send voice message, TV area Anna will send voice messages, Kote Anna will say, send messages, Satya will send, Sai Geetam family prays. All the signals are coming. What else do I want in life? What else do we want in life? Let this Swami's grace flow upon us always. The battle is not fully won yet, because the lymph nodes that have been removed, they are all perfectly all right. 25 lymph nodes, nothing has been detected. It has not spread to any part of the body. The whole portion has been removed now. Last stage that is to be done is some chemotherapy and some 25 sitting radiation which will happen, for which we are going day after tomorrow. Again, we surrender to the lotus feet of Bhagavan and let him do everything on her. We have surrendered in entirety to him, and we also pray from our heart to Swami that he takes care of us, guiding completely, because ultimately we are mere puppets in his hand. All of you are so wonderful. I can only request you humbly to continue prayers, because I firmly have now concluded that collective prayers have tremendous strength. I mean, you have to shake Bhagavan to move, and he gets moved by the pleadings, sincere pleadings of devotees. And in this case, I have seen this happen. So this is the, nutshell summary of our experience so far. And I am damn confident that Swami will take us through the rest of the journey very smoothly. And we will rededicate our entire life again to the service of Swami, because Vidya, I know her nature. She is very compassionate. Her level of surrender is in a different level than me. I can get angry, she will not get angry. She will exude love. When somebody took promise that you should not shed tears, Anirudh took promise, she has not shed tears so far. दूसरों के बच्चों को देखो माँ की तरह, she has been doing that. So only all of us can pray for such a good soul that everything good should happen. That's what we can pray. Okay, with that, in fact, thank you so much for this opportunity, for sharing the glorious Bhagavatam of our dear Swami, who always is compassionate, who always flexes himself to come to the rescue of devotees, and he's always there. ENGU CHENRALUM IRUPPAI. If having come this far is already 6:52, just give me an opportunity to play that song ENGU CHENRALUM IRUPPAI fully, and we will conclude. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this patient hearing. I'll just share this last song and then we'll conclude. Sai Ram. Sai Ram Satya, the song I will just conclude.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Yes, thank you, Ma. Thank you so much. Had I been little more, IT savvy, it would have been wonderful.
मन दिल संचलन மனதில் சஞ்சலம் உள்ளத்தில் குழப்பம் மனதில் சஞ்சலம் உள்ளத்தில் குழப்பம் மனதில் சஞ்சலம் உள்ளத்தில் குழப்பம் உன்னை நினைத்ததில் நான் தெளிவு பெற்றேனே மனதில் சஞ்சலம் உள்ளத்தில் குழப்பம் உன்னை நினைத்ததில் நான் தெளிவு பெற்றேனே அன்பில் சிகரம் கண்டேன் கண்ணனை துதித்தேன் ராமனை கண்டேன் கண்ணனை துதித்தேன் வடிவேல் முருகனை தினம் வணங்கினேன் ராமனை கண்டேன் கண்ணனை துதித்தேன் வடிவேல் முருகனை தினம் வணங்கினேன் அரவணைத்தேன் சாயிநாதா அனைத்தும் 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 தொடர்ந்து பரம்பொருள் நீயே எல் உயிர் நீயே பரம்பொருள் நீயே எல் உயிர் நீயே பரம்பொருள் நீயே எல் உயிர்
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much for this opportunity to Swami and all of you, such a lovely Sai Gitam family. Sai Rama. I'm sorry I overshot the time. I'm extremely sorry to keep all Singaporeans waiting because I think it was pretty late there.
Thank you so much for all your prayers and love, which I experienced during this period. That's very, very, I don't know how to thank Swami for all this.
Sai Ram.
It's our blessings to be part of your life. It's our blessings to be part of this Sai fraternity. What should I say? We are speechless, Anna. Okay. Really, tears are flowing through our eyes, because the depth of that song, it is not a song, actually, it is how Sai has made your life itself into a song and presented it for each and every one of us to learn. I don't know if you have observed, even the musical element of that song is so much connected to those words. Right? Because it was very, very touching. And we have heard this. I think even if you hear it any number of times, it is a Sai in everybody's life. It is never going to be enough. So how can we say about overshooting time? Because we don't even know what is time. Isn't it? He is beyond everything. He is beyond time. So how can we try to constrain him into a 1.5 hours? It's because of, again, our own foolishness, right? As if we have got million other things more important. Well, you have so beautifully presented it that wherever you go, he is there. And today, I think that is what all of us are seeking, because exactly like you, 2011, we were also lost, but he has been guiding us in so many ways, bringing so many beautiful people into our lives, this satsang through which we keep connecting to him, right? Week after week, week after week. It has been such a blissful session today. I have no words at all to express, frankly, speechless. And it's only tears flowing through our eyes, nothing more. We really pray, and he's already there. See, why Anjaneya and why Sanjeevani, the form of Anjaneya carrying Sanjeevani. When we reflect on it, I mean, who was the greatest devotee? Right? We are talking about Namasmarana, right? The only one is Anjaneya, right? So he has brought him into your life to show you how you are going to be another Anjaneya. It was the Rama, now it is the Sai Rama. Okay, and through you, that Sanjeevani has been brought into your life. He knows what is needed there. And through you, that Sanjeevani has been brought into our lives today. Because it's a different kind of suffering that every one of us is going through. It need not be physical all the time. This journey of trying to get closer to Swami. Swami said beautifully, I'm waiting at the doorstep of the plane. There's nobody coming on board. Isn't it? So this Sai Sanjeevani that you have presented so beautifully, we really pray that we will accept it. We will open up our channels to connect to that Wi-Fi signal that is ever present. ENGU CHENRALUM IRUPPAI. The signal is everywhere there. I have shut down my mobile phone. How can I receive that signal? So beautifully presented by your song. I have absolutely in total bliss. No words to thank you. I think thanks is not the appropriate word, Anna. Really. May Swami be with you all the time, okay, and grant us the opportunity of being with you all the time also. Vidya, everything is going to be perfect because your love is needed for this world. There are still so many people who have to experience that love that we all have experienced. So everything is going to be perfect. And our prayers are continuously there all the time for you. Om Shri Sai Ram. Once again, thank you, Swami, for this beautiful opportunity And please bless us and guide us to keep listening to your glories week after week. Next week, we are using it to offer our gratitude to you. So there'll be no satsang next week. First time we'll be breaking, but it is a Sai Aradhana.
Aradhana.
So it is for us to offer ourselves to Him, right? And that is the right occasion. And then this will continue the week after. So thanks to each and every one of you for supporting. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Maybe you should chant the Samasta Loka to close our session today.
Yeah. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Om Shri Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much. Sai Ram, Sai Ram and all.